Welcome back. We're here with round 5 at our European WCQ. In front of me, I have Niall Mahmutovic and Francesco Seminara, who are ready to kick off this next feature match. Gentlemen, we're going to do a high roll to see who will go first. So we've got Niall rolling first, and Niall has rolled an 8. Francesco? We see the dice roll here, and that is a 9. Are you going to go first, Francesco? Francesco is going to go first. I'm going to hand you guys over to your commentators. A nice fist bump there. Hand you guys over to your commentators who are going to take you through this feature match.
We're going step by step here now, basically in the middle of day 1 here of this day 1 at the European World Championship qualifier. And we still keep on finding interesting decks that partly we haven't even really seen in a while. And there's going to be one definitely that we haven't really had on our radar, which is using some new cards from Duelist Advance as well, right?
Yep, some cards that you have never seen in the OCG before.
Exactly.
They're very much exclusive for us, so I can't wait to see them in action. And I think the duelists are ready, so let's go over to the table.
And there we go, and you see up top, in the hands of Niall, the Unchained deck. And yeah, you might be wondering, there weren't necessarily any Unchained cards in particular in Duelist Advance, but it was Buyo the Dawn's Light. And that card is a Fiend monster, which is putting in the work in this Fiend deck as well. But for the moment, another deck massively profiting off of Duelist Advance. It's going to be Vanquish Soul in the hands of Francesco leading things off here.
Yep, that is direct support there with the name of Vanquish Soul, Holly Sue, and of course Vanquish Soul start. So consistency and sealing has been added to the deck. That is something that both of those the deck definitely needed, but now also a pot of extravagant start is always nice. For this deck, it's basically Pot of Greed, and that's perfect, huh?
How do you expect this matchup to go through? Meaning that both decks are really want to play in their opponent's turn, so I think it will be very back and forth and grindy game.
I mean, you say you like to play on your opponent's turn, but when I'm looking at the Unchained deck and the way it is played at the moment, it is a huge combo deck, which is ending on so many interruptions for the opponent. I think when you go first with that deck, you are really happy with it.
Yes, but there is also Mutiny in the Sky, also a new card from Duelist Advance that can enhance your combos, I'm pretty sure, after you search it from Buyo. Oh, we're going to see a Fualos here.
Wait, we're revealing the Ash Blossom though, so I mean, we're kind of telegraphing that there is an answer immediately in the hand. Are we going to use it though?
I mean, we could, right? But you kind of also often need fire attribute monsters in hand.
We do use it though. I think it is important that we shut that Fuvalos down.
Francesco didn't love that.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to say is that there's also Mutiny in the Sky. This card does some fusion summons for you, and Luce, the Dusk's Dark, also a new addition to basically any Fiend deck if you want to play it.
Totally.
It helps you break fields.
It does, absolutely. It's a great card. And yeah, the Fuvalos now has hit the graveyard, and Francesco keeps on going. He got the Vanquish Soul monster that, since the release of Vanquish Soul, is the best card you always want to have on the field. The one that gets everything started, Vanquish Soul Raisin. And from here on out, he's free to do whatever he likes if he has more fire monsters in his hand, because he had to give up on that Ash Blossom, really. Oh, there is Holly Sue now, of course, Surge. And there is Jiaolong, too. I think that is all we could imagine here.
But I mean, Jiaolong is really the one that needs multiple fire monsters, right? So you can easily get the resin back anytime by going Rock of the Vanquisher and then add back resin and then reveal that one. But you need a second one. You want a second one for Jiaolong so you can surge, otherwise the effect is just changing the battle position of a monster.
That's true, but what are we revealing here? That does look like the effect of Holly Sue that we are resolving. And I mean, Holly Sue can now just technically also get us Dr. Madlove. Dr. Madlove gets us the Vanquish Soul start field spell. And from there on out, we can just get another material. Or we just keep the Jiaolong in the hand and get another one from the deck out. So we have another fire monster in the hand. There we go. Jiaolong. Oh, double Jiaolong. Oh, I think I see what Francesco is going for here. This does look like a moment that we had in yesterday's feature match already. Oh, that's 3 level 5 monsters. Is it time again? Is it time to pair a dice and make it a smasher. It is indeed the number 67 Paradise Smasher with 3 materials. Okay, Leo, is he going to be lucky here?
Try and break that field, Niall, because this is going to be really hard. Okay, can you go for a 2 here? That is a 6, and that basically makes it impossible for Niall to win that roll here. It's a 7 on Francesco's side. I think you can just modulate one of the die, and that's a fist bump already. Francesco wins this one, skipping the turn of Niall with the Paradise Smasher. That was fast.
He was just destined to do that, and I mean, you can really tell his game plan by looking at his extra deck, because usually that Paradise Smasher is a card you want to include as a one-off, because sometimes you're going to have that option, but he actually values that a whole lot by playing 2 Paradise Smasher even.
Extravagance is die.
Yeah.
Which of the players, though, has the negation?
The turn player loses.
The turn player loses?
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
But I mean, when modifying for 7 plus 6, it was always losing for him.
Yeah.
No, I mean, he can modify his opponent's dice.
Yeah.
He had 6.
Yeah.
And modify it to 7, but he also
But you can
roll a 7.
modify.
You take 1 die that goes to 7.
It's not the total result.
Okay.
One die goes to 7.
Because
exactly.
otherwise, this would be a really risky strategy.
Way too
that's
much
why
of a
I
gamble,
was-
yeah. No, but yeah, Leo, you were saying pot of extra games, but usually the cards that are more situational, you're only going to include as a one-off anyhow, but he really is putting in multiple Paradise Smasher because he wants to make sure that always going through.
How relevant is your extra deck, really? I really like the approach of not playing a random link toolbox or some random level 4 monsters or rank 4 monsters in the extra deck, but you can say, hey, maybe I just need 6 different extra deck monsters, let's include them twice and triple rock of the Vanquisher.
But Vanquish so rocks.
It really does.
That card
Do you
is
play
in his
this
extra deck, to
once
be
or
fair.
twice?
He is running it once only. The Vanquish
I'm
so
disappointed in that one because that is the easiest. I underestimated this card a little bit.
Same.
But this is the easiest Zeus of your life. This is a 1 monster Zeus. It's almost like you're playing Zodiac.
The problem with it though is, like, usually you're only going to do it in main phase 2, and then like you need to have another Exceed monster to go alongside with it, you know? That's what we saw. Yeah, that was what Dinka Bui actually was doing yesterday in the points playoff. And of course, he's back for revenge. Didn't make it to Worlds yesterday, but still in the main event of today. All those glorious names, of course, in the field trying to go through here somehow. We had a quick peek at all the top tables, but one particular table, of course, is where the attention is at the moment, and the players are ready again. So let's go back over to the table for game number 2. And in this one, of course, it's not going to be Francesco going first, so Paradise Smasher most likely not going to have any impact. So let's see what instead Niall is able to put up with his Unchained deck.
And I mean, Francesco doesn't know what Niles is up to because he didn't see anything of his engine.
Just saw absolutely nothing. That is a Fiendsmith Tract, and this is a double-edged sword because yes, of course, it is just a easy starter for your Fiendsmith engine. If you're playing a Fiend strategy, of course, also Aerialator is a card that can sometimes be relevant for you. But this card is not always the best starter for it. It can be ashed easily. I wanted to say it doesn't play around Troll Lockwood, but that doesn't.
That means we have Lurry in the hand already, maybe?
It sounds like...
With discarding Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. Okay, so I mean, in the Unchained deck, I feel like Norman Summon Lacrima might lead to more than we think. I think Norman Summon Lacrima gives us access to the Unchained engine as well, and I hope we're going to see that.
If you don't have any other good normal summon, for example, Tour Guide, it's very good to add Lacrima in order to play around hand wraps.
Yeah, that's true. You're very right, because otherwise just Ash Blossom on the Requiem could completely cut you off of your Fiendsmith engine, but now you're already kind of set on that, and Niall goes in and brings out a second Fiendsmith Engraver to the field just now.
What a card has been dominating the entire tournament scene ever since it came out. However, I want to mention that in the top 16 points playoff, only one player, funnily enough, in Unchained, has played the Fiendsmith engine.
Yeah, very true. And it gotta be said that lately those cards weren't as relevant anymore. Now we go into sequence, and I'm wondering what kind of cards we're trying to go into here. Is this the Aerial Eater you were mentioning that could get us an Unchained card into the graveyard? Okay, we're using Engraver and the Lacrima, so that does very much so look like Aerial Eater. And there we have it.
I was just saying that I've been talking about Aerial Eater earlier to bridge into this, but you can also just always go into Yama.
Yeah, no, Yama always. But I mean, you can still go into Yama afterwards, can't you?
That is true, so you actually add more and more cards. You can send Shavara, exactly, set a trap card from your deck and then go into Yama to add another card from your deck to your hand. That can possibly pop the trap card and then you're starting to combo off good.
Yeah, perfectly executed, and nice display from Niall here on how these two engines work well together, because we have seen those Fiendsmith cards in all kind of different decks, let's face it. But here in this one, it really feels the most natural almost, because it is a real Fiend deck, so we're using the Fiendsmith cards to the full potential, and that's what Niall brought as his tournament.
I hope they play Fiend tonight.
Yeah, for real.
And I love the fact that he bridges from Fiendsmith to Unchained. It's an amazing strategy.
And not the other way around. Like, usually it's every deck bridging into the Fiendsmith strategy.
Speaking of new cards.
Ooh, indeed, new cards. Booyo, the Dawn's Light. And it's just such a free extender for the deck, because you can just special summon it out by targeting one Fiend effect monster you control. You're negating the effects of it, but I think you will be done with using the effect of that monster anyhow at that point. And then additionally to that even, you can get Mutiny in the Sky from your deck to your hand when it goes to the graveyard, which we're probably about to see here. Maybe even making us able to chain block something here with the Yama.
Looking good there. I'm very curious to see what he has been cooking up with Mutiny in the Sky.
There it is. And Francesco, probably not too aware of what's going on here right now. This is a brand new card, not out too long just yet. And it has not really seen any major success just yet. For example, I think at the WCQ, this card was nowhere to be seen in the top cut. But here we have it now, with a decent start into the tournament so far. Of course, the tournament run is still a long one to go, but it's certainly a good start that Niall had here. And we have that Mutiny now. Are we going to just...
being activated?
Yeah.
And I think that at this point we will experience a fulfilled from Unchained. Like,
yeah, and I'm looking forward to that. I want to see what it does.
Same. Absolutely. And I mean, one part for sure has to be the WCQ, right? That is just in Fiend decks nowadays, just an absolute staple in the extra deck. Such a good, versatile card to end on your field when you're closing out your turn. Link 4 coming back just to round it off. Also playing around Nip kind of nicely as well. So that card eventually will definitely be on the field.
And giving so many draws in the standby phase.
Oh, yeah.
You know what else plays around Nibiru, the Primal Being? It's the DDD Wave King High Wave King Caesar.
Yeah, and the cool thing is, normally in those hybrid decks where Fiendsmith is just supplemented into the deck, when you go for sequence, you can't really go for the Caesar anymore. But here, you have so many Fiend monsters that are level 6 naturally, so you went for sequence to bridge into your Unchained cards, and now with those Unchained cards, you will very, very easily go into the DDD Wave High King Caesar indeed.
Even though if you start with Engraver in hand, you have enough Light Fiends to actually go for Caesar plus Desiree in the graveyard with an Agnum Day setup.
True. All of that possible, and we now bring back the sequence with the graveyard effect of Yama.
Of course, it cannot activate again the effect.
This was a very, very popular deck just 2 years ago, I want to say. Also because of the artworks. Just look at how cool these hounds are. Look at Shavara.
Of course. I mean, we all remember Jesse Cotton winning a YCS with it. We remember Lorenzo Muselli getting top 4 with it at YCS Dortmund as well. It definitely was super, super popular and was considered to be one of the most skillful decks in the format, honestly. And I think that certainly has not changed. The skill level of this deck is very high. And now we finally see the Mutiny in the Sky resolving. And not only Francesco is excited to see what's coming out now, because he probably doesn't know, but also the viewers at home are expecting big here. And this should very well be Luce the Dusk Dark. And yeah, Francesco immediately grabbing the card, needing to read it, of course. And it is worth reading, as it is as Booyo kind of protecting your monsters in the main monster zones that are in the most left or rightmost zone.
And we have Caesar there, which doesn't want to be destroyed.
Indeed, so that is very, very handy. And also, once per turn, you can target one card your opponent controls, send one Fiend monster or a Fairy monster from a deck to the graveyard, and if you destroy that card, the problem with that card, though, is, Leo, it's not a quick effect. So
Yeah,
it is not that great to be ending on. So
That's what I meant earlier when I said I'm curious what Niall
Yeah.
has cooked up, because this card helps you break fields, but I don't see, unless you need a level 8 monster perhaps, how this enhances your
So you
own
consider it
combo.
more as a going second strategy, right?
Yeah.
It seems like that, for sure.
But apparently it's not.
I mean, to be fair, we got it for free, right? The
Yeah.
Mutant in the Sky, we could search for free. Now we get another monster we can possibly link off just like that. So that may just be good enough, honestly, in terms of value you get out of the card.
And I know that you most of the time want to have your cards in the graveyard to be very accessible, but sometimes you also want cards
But hold on.
deck that does not look like too much. I mean, we have the chamber that is set. We can summon back the Unchained Soul of Shavara. We have a Baoaku and we have the High King Caesar. So there is plenty of interruptions already, but we know that Vanquish Soul, it's a deck that finds its way. You know, you can oftentimes just find out a niche win condition at some point.
Okay, but it is the turn of Francesco now. That's all we got. So we indeed ended on the Luce, but the Luce is protecting the Caesar, and it's also protecting itself, funnily enough, as it's also, of course, in the far right zone from Niall.
So we just summon Luce as protection of the High King Caesar, which is also kind of useful, actually. You know that the Vanquish Soul of all decks is a deck that likes to protect its own interactions.
Totally.
With the Snow Devil that just makes your monsters
And also
unable
their
to
own
destroy.
effect. For example, Raisin can also
Yeah.
protect himself.
Yeah. And now I'm wondering how well can Vanquish Soul play into that Caesar, because all the deck does really is special summoning from the hand. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering how well it can play through two of those negations from the Caesar.
Does that a lot, though.
Yeah, that's true. Usually it summons more than it. Oh! Goodbye,
Wow.
Caesar, though. Not getting destroyed, but getting tributed for Dogoran. That is a fire monster that Vanquish Soul decks now like to use. That's huge.
I really like Dogoran as a deck, since obviously it's a fire. It also can be added through Hita in order to address the problem you have with Lunalight, for example.
Totally.
Shavara, of course, triggering immediately gets us a prison, I think. But the problem with that is this card has just been set. You can't just banish a Malice monster from your side of the field to activate it this turn. No, it is going to stay set there. Now,
And
Francesco,
speaking of Raisin,
yeah, just getting it back immediately here.
or a Ray, as we saw before.
Or Kashtira Riceheart.
But no, it is the Raisin, in fact. And Niall, does he maybe have Drawn Lockbird? That could hurt here, but it doesn't seem like it.
I mean, how much it does? It's problematic for you, yes, definitely. I mean, there's still a field to be broken, right? You still have the Unchained Soul of Rage. You still have a Baoaku. A Baoaku could summon back the DDT Caesar, but I don't think that does a lot.
Not a whole lot indeed, but Francesco is considering now. And I'm wondering, he summoned the Mad Flame Kaiju, but maybe Niall the one being mad here right now. Trying to figure out the Raisin into the column where now two monsters are located in, because the Dogoran, cleverly enough, was also summoned into that column. So, Raisin effect. And you Ash the Raisin now. That's huge. But still, of course, we can activate the other effect possibly if we have the right attributes. It's always about the right attributes with this deck.
I mean, we have Jowling and Dr. Madlove, so I think Dark and Fire, that works.
Vanquish
should
Soul
work.
requires so many skill cap in order to play
Yeah.
through opponent's field, and obviously have the right attributes in order to keep a resource and still able to break in fields.
You know what? I like that Kaiju's break fields again.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. I like that a Kaiju does so much work here and, of course, can be destroyed by the resin immediately as well. It's really cool. I mean, Abawaku can be chained to this, but still, I mean, it's forcing out the interactions here. But it's interesting. What do we have?
He's very careful about it.
Do we have
Oh.
Stake Your Soul?
It is Stake Your Soul, and we're staking a Madlove. What are we going to get out of it?
Question is, are we going to use the effect of Jiaolong immediately after that? Because that would be quite odd to me. You ideally want to use the Reveal Fire and Dark effect of Resin. Special summoning out the Heavy Borger from the deck can net us another draw as well. Or you can burn your opponent for 1,500 damage. That's something that you would, you
On
know,
both
scoff
ends.
at, but has ended so many games so far already.
And Once more, Francesco. Now with already 2 monsters on the field, reveals the Borger. We want to keep on going. We draw a free card here. And oh, the card he picked up there is certainly a nice
But
one.
nah, I don't think it is. I think it's
It's a
actually
double-edged sword, huh?
And I think we were speaking for that card before in round 2, if I recall, with you and his backup story.
Yeah, to just ending games. But in this case, it would give your opponent 2 special summons from the deck. And of course, when it's chained, gets the Unchained Soul of Rage back. And so I don't even think...
I see your point. I'm not going to lie. Maybe it's more harm than actual good that gets out of activating the Happiest Feather Duster here. But we shall find out what Francesco thinks about that. I mean, it's not a monster that he can reveal, so it could actually be that that was a bad draw, honestly, drawing a spell card there.
And I mean, he sided it blindly. We'll have to say that as well. Didn't know he was playing versus Unchained. Perhaps that's also, I wanted to say, a drawback of those kind of strategies like Paradise, but I mean, you can just take winning the first game for free, right?
I guess you will be okay with it, honestly. And now there is the Borger being linked off. Oh, no. Yeah, I think we wanted to go into the Rock. Yes, that's what we will do here.
That seems odd to link off such a powerful monster for Rock of the Vanquisher.
To be fair, Rock is also powerful.
That is indeed true. But it has 0 attack points, Mike. What are you talking about?
Its effect, which is extremely powerful.
Yeah, okay.
Special summon from hand, or adding a monster from the graveyard giving resources, or obviously playing into your opponent's turn. For example, special summon Raisin into a column.
Ooh, is that the...
Oh,
okay,
wow.
we're
Are you doing
taking the
this,
risk.
actually?
Happiest Feather
He's just
Duster.
nodding. He's like, okay. Yes, let's do this.
I'm down. Chains the Chamber. Chamber brings back the Rage.
Is he playing Abominable Unchained Soul? Because that is another interruption if it is being special summoned out from the deck. Just it actually gets to pop the Rock of the Vanquisher or Resin then.
No, he's not playing that. Of course, it's, the deck space is kind of tight with all those different things you now run in. And therefore, there's no space for that. But still now, with the Rage on the field, we have the option to go into
Luce activates.
Luce does activate?
No. You can only use each.
Okay, Leo having a quick read.
If
on
another
Luce.
card you control is destroyed by card effect, you can target one card on the field, destroy it.
That makes sense why he's on the field, right?
Now we figure that out. And I mean, we have the ability. In that case, it was Francesco getting that activation off, but Niall, of course, with this deck, with the Unchained strategy, is very much able to do it himself with the WCQ, especially on the field.
I really don't think you should have activated that Harpy's Feather Duster.
I now see your point even more. Gotta say it. Oh, okay. The Mutinity in the Sky is being discarded for a WCQ.
This card just recycles itself from the graveyard, right?
Yep.
I mean, how many targets do you really still have to summon it? But
and we're going through the graveyard, trying to figure out how much follow-up there is also still with the Fiendsmith cards, maybe. Oh, it seems like a tough task to still overcome this, but on the other hand, Francesco still has 3 cards in hand. He hasn't even activated the Rock yet, so if one deck can do it, maybe it is Vanquish Soul?
I mean, you don't really have too many bounce cards in hand. As well, you have the Jiaolong. Resin can protect itself because you have the Jiaolong. But then the Jiaolong in hand really does not do anything right here. You don't have the necessary attributes for it.
Okay, a WCQ, and it looks like we are special summoning from the graveyard and not destroying. Gets the Sarama out.
Okay, and Sarama destroys the Dogoran now. I mean, we're starting to activate this now, I think. Maybe we're a little bit ahead of ourselves with resolving the card.
Well, did we change this to the effect of Raisin, maybe? Seems like it, right?
Might be.
Yeah, must be. We activated the effect of Raisin, so we changed the WCQ to make sure it's not getting destroyed by Raisin.
Yeah.
That's why the Dogoran went into the graveyard with all of that in between. What is Visarama doing now, I'm wondering? Because we could have also just activated the WCQ for its other effect. You don't need to special summon, but you can instead just destroy one card on the field, which seems way more valuable right now.
Yeah, but then it doesn't banish itself. Then it just pops the opposing monster, and then it gets destroyed by the resin effect. So I kind of agree. You want to have this banished for follow-up as well, because even if this field might be broken, I don't think that Francesco is going to go for game this turn. He's going to be able to do that at least. So a Bawaku would return afterwards, and then you have Fiendsmith Engine and a Bawaku.
Of course, for the effect of Raisin, something was revealed, so Jalong is ready to come out as well.
Will be able, though, to outgrind his opponent. And you think so?
I think he would very well be able to outgrind his opponent there. He always has so much setup, and if Francesco wants to break this field there, I think he's going to need a lot more resources, to be honest.
That's true, and we are immediately to the effect of Jalong. Will chain the Rage, and that's probably going to result in SP Little Knight, I would imagine. And that would leave Francesco without Vanquish Soul monsters on the field eventually.
And I think if you wanted to play a Time Wizard tournament, I think Unchained versus Vanquish Soul was a popular matchup, right? For quite some time.
Yeah. At the very same YCS where Lorenzo Muselli was in top 4, we had Vanquish Soul in the finals. I think it wasn't as popular. Like Unchained back in the day was way more popular than Vanquish Soul, but definitely both were very, very viable decks at that point.
Back then,
right now, maybe they are slightly better, I believe.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, back then, Vanquish Soul players used to believe there can only be one win condition in the deck, and that is a continuous trap card, at least against Unchained. Which was a really good answer to Unchained when you played there can be only one.
Yeah, they couldn't get rid of that thinking just yet, though, because we see in the side deck of Francesco that is still a staple to bring.
Ah, nice.
Of course, some things never change.
Some things never chain, that is true as well. For example, Breaker, the magical warrior, can't chain anything.
And remain unchained.
That's good.
And now we're trying to figure out how this chain is going to resolve. It seems sort of obvious. I don't really know what the confusion is all about, but we are hopefully
having this sorted.
So the problem is rock cannot be used as a link material.
Oh,
that's
of course.
The Unchained cannot be activated.
Okay, so I just got the message that we are having a judge call about this, and we should probably bring it over to us for a little moment, and then we can discuss the situation a little further. So let's bring it over here to the caster desk, and we shall talk about that. Because clearly you can't activate the effect of the Unchained Soul of Rage.
I also don't think don't know what the big confusion is then, especially because I think that makes this whole situation much easier. Of course, you're going to have to check if a potential warning is being...
This is, I think, what is being figured out right now.
Yeah, but, I mean, you can't activate the effect. You can't activate the effect, huh?
Yeah, it was an illegal activation, I believe. And that's why the game state should proceed. And then if Nile wants to activate again the effect, it can be activated on the effect of Jiaolong.
Yeah, or on the summon of Jiaolong, because on the effect of Jiaolong, it's not on the field at all.
When
so
he's summoned.
Exactly. Which I think makes a lot of sense. But what are the possible targets that you can go into? You can go into SP Little Knight, I remember that. You summon a Dark Monster, right? What else are you into? It's not Fiend.
What do you mean, Fiend?
Unchained Soul of Rage. What can you summon? You can summon
There's
Dark
technically
Monsters, right?
Anguish as well.
Yeah.
Unchained Soul of Anguish, which would be... I think it is Dark Monsters, actually.
Yeah, but...
Gotta be Dark Monsters, right?
Yeah, I think it's Dark.
Monsters,
yeah, it's Dark Monsters.
So you can just summon SP Little Knight as well as another nice little resource that you can have there.
You can totally do that. And we are just... I think we see the head judge has now also joined the stage. So to talk about some of those procedures a little further, clearly the effect that was activated there, the Unchained Soul of Rage, was not able to activate, obviously, as the rock cannot be used for link material. Therefore, we had to rewind. It's not a big rewind, because literally it just says, you can't do this. We go 1/2 step back, basically. But of course, then there's a penalty being issued, which is a warning, because illegal activation happened. And I think what is being figured out right now is whether that's possibly being upgraded into a higher penalty, which would be a game loss in case something like that happened to the player already previously in the tournament.
And I think this is the epitome of when you're playing against guys that you don't know what they do. And I mean, Nile probably didn't know that rock cannot be used as a link material.
Exactly.
Yep, this is why it's very important to read all of the cards.
What an advice, Leo.
Just fully read all of the cards.
If you would only follow your own words sometimes.
Yeah, but it's not about me right here, okay? No, but honestly, I know there's a lot of cards, but when you're playing versus your opponent, you can always ask them to hand you the card so you can read all of the effects. I tend to not tell my opponents to tell me what the cards do because, of course, it's just human if there is a lot of text on the card to forget about some things. And then I'm like, oh, you didn't mention you had 500 attack. And they're like, oh, I forgot. And then it's all in.
And I mean, here in Europe, of course,
just read.
Neuron is beautiful out of that as well because, of course, we are having multiple languages being spoken here across the European continent and all the different countries joining here for the European Championship. So it doesn't matter whether the card is Italian or French or German.
Don't you speak all of those languages?
Of course, fluently, as you clearly know. Hasta la vista. But no, and then you can just scan the card. Neuron tells you what it does. Easy peasy, you solve the situation. Especially, of course, in the featured match. And I just got the message. The featured match is back up ready. No upgrade was given, so we can just continue where we're at. Let's go to the table again. And there we have it.
All right, I think we're just getting the okay here that we can continue playing. Now what? Jiaolong has hit the field. Rock of the Vanquisher is still chilling there. Do you use the Unchained Soul of Rage here? Because why would you?
Niall has activated it.
Okay.
We have decided to do so. I mean, probably to prevent the Jiaolong from activating, right?
Yeah, but there's like a... I mean, isn't it a quick effect even?
Yeah, I believe it is.
Okay, that might be a problem then.
Also, there's a bunch of cards that just bounce cards from your side of the field back to the hand, like Heavy Borga or the Caesar Valius.
It's only 2 cards remaining in Francesco's hand, though.
And you're not playing too many of those. Actually, this was basically the main mechanic of the deck back then, and that is not really the case anymore, right? You're not bouncing all of this stuff anymore. You just use sometimes. You have an occasional bounce in the deck, but you're not constantly bouncing back and forth like a frog.
Oh, or maybe the Rage? I'm pretty sure Niall pointed at the Rage, but maybe that was just an explaining move saying that card could now link somewhere, but no, that clearly to me looks like we're trying to resolve the effect, but that card does target, so those bouncing effects that you were mentioning, those would come in super clutch here. And I think one card in hand is Mad Love, but the other one may be ready to be chained, and it is the Borger! And this is good in multiple ways, because not only do you get that Borger onto the field, but also the Rage cannot resolve anymore, getting you to the SP Little Knight.
But this card has been used already this turn, so this is basically a vanilla. Yes, you can take your Jiaolong back. It won't be able to special summon itself back out.
But Rock has not activated the effect.
That's what I was thinking, right?
Your special summon.
And we have not even normal summon yet, so it's getting mad in here first.
We
have
a That was rock effect.
This is a rock effect to special summon from the hand.
Even better, okay. It's still getting mad in here with Dr. Madlove. We started with the Mad Kaiju. I think Francesco is having a theme here for his Vanquish Soul deck.
Everyone's super mad at the table.
Yeah.
Because Niall is full of rage as well.
Exactly, yeah. Now activates Vanquish Soul start. And I'm really curious because that to me was just an obvious one-off when I saw it in the very beginning. But yesterday in the playoff, and now also here with Francesco, I see people playing 2 copies of this card actually. And it's just, it helps the consistency issues with the deck, right? Because I've talked to a couple of people and they said, yeah, I was trying out Vanquish Soul quite hardly, but I just had some issues with not having the best hands some of the time. So seems only logical to include a card that is getting you more consistency.
Yep. Holly Sue is being added now. When I saw Vanquish Soul start, I didn't even see Holly Sue. I was like, this card is insane. So, well, I thought it was an immediate 3-off, to be honest. Then figured you can only activate 1.
Yeah.
But still, consistency issues. It doesn't play on its own. That's, I think, a little bit of a problem for the card. That's why it's not being played 10 times in a deck. I thought it was going to be 3-off with Terraforming as well. I'm not going to lie. The Vanquish Soul Holly Sue is a very interesting pickup here because it really doesn't do anything right now.
Really in the battle phase even, okay.
You can special summon it out, sure, because you can reveal the Jiaolong, but then you only have a fire and nothing else. You have to use next turn, you have to use the Rock of the Vanquisher to add something back. And then you're going to be able to special summon out Holly Sue and activate basically both of the effects, because you can just add back... Ah, no, you only have a fire in hand, so you can only activate the special summon effect, right? Yes. And then you also have a dark because you added it back. Yeah, you can just use every single effect.
That's true, but
That's
now
good.
what can be cool maybe possibly in main phase 2. I was saying earlier Vanquish Soul rocks, but there is now also a monster that is called exactly like that, and the best monster to use for that is clearly Rock of the Vanquisher, because that is the Earth attribute monster of the deck, or the extra deck, and that gives you the additional effect to destroy one card on the field as far as I remember.
This is how Girsu and Galatea have evolved.
Yeah. Destroying one card your opponent controls.
Oh, we're just linking this off now because, of course, Rock of the Vanquisher cannot be used as link material, but if you want to go into SP Little Knight, you can just go into Vanquish Soul Rocks and then link off.
Ooh, and now Holly Sue also to the field. I mean, the thing about Vanquish Soul Rocks here is you can't destroy the Rage because it is still protected from the Lucci, and also the Lucci is protecting itself, and then on the other end destroying the Unchained monster doesn't seem very valuable either, so the effect of Vanquish Soul Rocks there probably was just not worth activating at all.
Yep, that's true. I'm quite curious what is going to happen here, because you've locked yourself out of the extra monster zone successfully, unless you're going into a Typhon here. That's very nice. So Typhon is a good removal for that field here, and now you can go into Rock of the Vanquisher with Dr. Madlov, unless you can only summon one.
I love the fact that Francesco at this point has only summoned it to using as material links monsters. Clearly a new mechanic.
Yeah, absolutely. And Francesco now in the end phase using the second effect of Vanquish Soul start and setting Vanquish Soul Snow Devil.
But what is that Holisu doing now on the field?
Very little, not
Yes.
gonna lie.
It's just chilling.
Very, very, very little. I mean, yeah, no, you're right. It doesn't do a whole lot.
I'm not seeing any restriction that you can't... Oh, you use Typhon, of course. Yeah, summoning the SP Little Zone in the extra monster zone was really, really tough. Should have maybe linked off the Dr. Madlov after going into Vanquish Soul Rocks.
Yeah.
So you can add back another attribute from the graveyard and activate all of those Holly Sue effects.
No, totally, you're right. It was a misstep to not use the Dr. Madlov, for sure. And now we find ourselves in a position where we just basically only have the Typhon on the field as a real interruption. Yes, there is Vanquish Soul Snow Devil, but there's only one attribute we can reveal for it. So that card is absolutely not as powerful as it could be, possibly.
Yep. And yeah, the Snow Devil doesn't do anything as well. It's just sitting there with one card that you can reveal.
And also Abba will have an amazing effect during the standby phase.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're... Oh yeah, true. We're even in the end of main phase, I think.
Yes, on Francesco turn.
Yeah, going through all of those Fiendsmith motions. So Francesco has decently broken the field. Has set up...
We're not sure, because I think we already also resolved the effect of Abba or Q in the standby phase.
So it was a normal summon of...
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was. Now Mutiny in the Sky.
Oh my goodness, you can recycle your entire extra deck. That's crazy.
Oh my. And what are we going into here? Again, of course, and we're taking another close read of that card. We go into Lucci.
Can't really be activated here because Typhon is still on the field, but I think that's fine, huh? Mutiny in the Sky just recycles your entire extra deck. That's completely insane. That's super big grind game.
Yeah, I mean, I was liking the inclusion of the Bui in the beginning, or the Buyo, the Dinka Bui, but
Dinka Buyo.
The Buyo, the Dawn's Light. But I wasn't sure whether you would also additionally play the Mutinity in the Sky with the extra deck monster, but it seems like it is really, really, really worth playing and really good in this, actually.
As we can experience, it gives so much grind to the deck. And obviously a very good interruption.
Nihil is just now going to Requiem. Requiem is going to special summon out probably another Engraver from the deck, or something else that was shuffled back. But nope, Engraver, you want the Requiem in the graveyard to attach there, or to equip rather, and send something else off to the graveyard. The Typhon, so Lucia can be activated as well. It's free to go now, and I think we're just trying to go for game at this point.
Certainly, okay, trying to destroy Vanquish Soul start, which is clever because that also has, of course, that little backup protection effect for the Vanquish Soul monsters, but no longer any need to worry about that anymore.
It's also crazy that you get to destroy something and then send a card from the deck to the graveyard.
Yeah.
Just send a Shavara or a Buyo. All right, we don't want to draw this one, maybe.
Here we go. sent to the graveyard. I mean, it's getting close now. This is so many big monsters. You just probably almost are at the point where this is borderline game, really.
Yeah. I mean,
resource-wise, it's also Nile ahead.
yeah.
Shayama. Oh, Shayama is going to destroy Rage, and then Rage will be able to add another Fiend back from the graveyard to the hand here. Maybe this is why we wanted Rio in the graveyard.
Can't. Oh, and that was... I don't think that was a legal activation. That was a completely legal activation, but you just can't destroy your own monster at this point because it's in the rightmost zone, which is hilarious if you're asking me.
Anguish now, though.
Yeah, that one fixes quite some problems if you want to go into Access Code Talker. I'm going to be honest with you there.
I must agree. Do we activate the Anguish? Surely we do. Which monster do we want to use?
You take the Holly Sue, of course, because you want to avoid your opponent
Just
maybe drawing 20 cards.
Look at this, though. This is a very small version of the Access Code
he's
Talker.
activating it.
Yep. Nile is playing the long game here, not going to go for game here this turn. And I mean, Francesco is on so little resources, so maybe this is just fine.
I mean, you know that the last card in hand is Jiaolong. You know that there is a Snow Devil set. None of these cards really do anything.
And I mean, the extra deck space in this Fiend pile, which we call Unchained here, it's very, 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 very tight for 15 cards to fit. So Access Code Talker, actually the card he couldn't even
How many
put
Yama?
into that. 2 Yamas, indeed. So that was something he was valuing. I think he could get away with only playing 1, but in that deck that is really leaning into the Unchained cards, I do feel like you want to go for the second Yama most of the time.
Because I missed some Unchained action in the last turn.
Yeah, exactly.
It was too generic Fiend stuff that was happening. I wanted some more Unchained cards.
Oh, Holly Sue activating, revealing Jiaolong. Okay.
Does nothing again. Rock of the Vanquisher, of course, can be summoned now.
Oh, but hold on, though. That can do some things.
That might...
A Q discards triple tactic Frost.
You just pop it here. And maybe we have something crazy like the Unchained Soul of Rage, which also works, but you can't use the Unchained Soul of Rage if you summon it back now, because your SP Little Knight is...
Okay, Jiaolong is revealed for the Snow Devil. Is that going to bring Francesco anywhere close to getting out of this situation? Because, I mean, technically you can just special summon 1 Jiaolong from the hand here. That cannot use its effect, but of course it can attack over the SP Little Knight at least.
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing is Vanquish Soul Snow Devil has Jiaolong on the artwork.
Yeah, they work fairly well together.
That is not going to necessarily help
He did it for the lore. He did it for the lore, just this single thing there.
Even though I mean, I must say there is no interruption on the side of Nile here, so you can go for Rock of the Vanquisher and then perhaps get a Razon back or something. But, I mean, Nile just has infinite resources at this point. A WCQ can't be destroyed.
And I mean, the problem with Vanquish, as we said before, is that if he hasn't attributes in his hands to reveal, pretty much the monsters cannot do much.
The deck is generating almost an infinite amount of value. That's what it's always done. But if you at some point get outgrinded or are denied your resources...
Hold back, though. We have not even normal summoned yet. How about just add back Razon and start a party, maybe?
Yeah.
Like, it's not out of the realm of possibilities here, is it?
Yeah, I can see that. I can see a party.
I think he was pointing towards rocks, though. Recycling rocks here doesn't seem like the most valuable, but there's a Razon. Yup. Look at this. No normal summon yet. I see some stuff coming here from Francesco.
Okay, but what can you add after this?
Wait, is this another Typhon coming down now?
Oh my goodness.
Nah, you must be kidding. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Typhon number 2. And we do detach the rock of the
Have we
Vanquisher.
even summoned from the extra deck multiple times?
We have summoned SP Little Knight and the Luce. Yep, that was at least
the
2.
Luce, right. And now we're passing, so Razon was not normal summoned as well. Is kept as follow-up. Nile, not keen to use a Lacrima effect at the end of the main phase. I think that could have been possible resources there, or is Lacrima not in the graveyard?
Maybe we have shuffled it back. There's a world where we did.
He's in the graveyard, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, because we summoned out the Engraver in the last turn. There's no reason not to do that.
Okay, but now that's an easy answer. Now the Requiem in the graveyard puts in the work, sends the Typhon. That's many attack points already.
I think at this point you can, if you want, you can go for a Shayama and destroy the Luce. And then you at least have Caesar.
And Niall, at this point, he has full knowledge.
Mutiny in the Sky is activated once more. Which one are we even going to summon now? Is that just
Aerial Eater?
Aerial Eater again? Yeah, true. We recycled it, so we may as well again.
Shuffle the Aerial Eater back. At this point, how much attack does Aerial Eater have? Probably like something like about 2,100.
That ain't bad, really.
Yep.
That's very close to already being enough with just these 3 monsters. But no, we keep on running. We keep on going. Go for the sequence.
Do we have a line for Agnum Day? Because that will surely be enough at this point together with the Luce.
Totally.
And Francesco is checking his extra deck now. Maybe there's a secret treasure he can find there that is going to help them avoid the damage that Niall is about to do. Desiree, yes, this looks like an Agnum Day line.
Keep them coming. There is the Agnum Day, and that now, of course, means a lot of attack points on the Desiree, as it is boosted, and it is boosted enough to seal the deal here. 1-1 score is evened out, and Niall takes the second game with the Unchained strategy in really impressive fashion. But it was a nice back and forth.
Yeah.
You really couldn't tell who was winning throughout the game there.
There was a lot of Typhon.
Yeah.
Vanquish Soul has the option to just play so many cards in the extra deck. We've talked about that before. I think Typhon is meant to be banished by Extravagance once and not to be just summoned every turn in the game. But I think that maybe actually there was a bigger chance for Francesco to win if he just went for a Rock of the Vanquisher with the Dr. Madlove before going into the Typhon, because then he could have had double Holly Sue effects instead of just having it on the field in defense position. That didn't really do too much. I mean, the next turn of Niall didn't look too impressive, especially since the Shayama tried to destroy the Soul of Rage. So if you had been able to take a monster there and to special summon a monster, get more resources, maybe get some Valious action going.
I mean, also, just quickly going back on you saying that, yeah, we activated that effect. Wasn't an illegal activation though, right? You just you activate the effect, nothing happens because the monster doesn't get destroyed. But of course, Niall will be very keen to not do any illegal activations anymore after having the Rage incident beforehand. And we are hopefully having a clean third game now, in which, of course, Bo, Francesco goes first with Heavy Borger on his back. That's a good card to have if you're getting closer to the zero timer region, I would say.
And how would you approach, if you were Niall, this matchup of going to 2-time? Meaning that Vanquish, of course, is a deck that can eventually get advantage of the clock being so low. For example, 6 minutes.
I think I would start praying. I think I would hope that my opponent just doesn't draw any Vanquish Soul cards, because the deck has a little bit of a tendency towards the bricking side, I have to say. So it is not out of the question that could happen. But looking at the list of Francesco, he definitely has put in cards to up the consistency of the deck frequently.
Yeah, because you have so many great cards that generate value, but most of them don't play on their own. Yes, Dr. Madlove, yes, Razin, work perfectly fine.
Yes.
Problem that you might be having is if you only have Stake Your Soul and none of the appropriate attributes, which is very unlikely, to be honest.
True.
Then you also have the good old, help me here. I mean, just the Vanquish Soul start also doesn't play on its own. So these cards, yeah, Jiaolong is also a card that is amazing, but you actually need 2 fire cards in hand. It is also one of the fire cards that you're playing to reveal it. So you can't have all the fire cards that exist in the game, you know?
You have Dogoran. Is Dogoran going to stay in Francesco's deck? Because you need to keep in fire monsters somehow. So, of course, he's starting, but can you afford to bring that card out?
There's no way. I think there are better cards that you can just side in going first and then just say, hey, you know, if I draw these and I might have not the best hand, then that is still fine for me. I'll get another turn, I'll get another draw, but the players are ready, so let's go into Game 3.
And there we have them. Francesco will be going first. Less than 6 minutes remaining. And a clear game plan here for Francesco. Okay, let's see. Ooh, good start for Niall, not
really
gonna lie. That deck wants to summon from the hand a lot.
So first step of the plan was do not break.
Yeah.
And I think you also asked me about Niall's plan. I think that is according to plan.
Yeah.
Dropping that Mulcharmi Perulia then the standby phase, and immediately with the first card that Francesco plays, getting value out of it, is Nice.
Yep, and this card is, of course, going to be able to search Heavy Borger immediately. You need an Earth and a Fire monster to deal some damage. You have Holly Sue and you have the resin that you could bounce back, so I think that one is already given there. Holly Sue, of course, can also special summon out the Heavy Borger, so all of the roads lead to winning a feature match in Berlin if you can summon out the Heavy Borger there.
Yeah, and I think for Francesco, main priority must be that we activate the Heavy Borger while still having a possibility to just somehow maybe get it off the field as well. So let's say we have Heavy Borger with a Caesar Valius in hand, making it able to also possibly play around an Effect Valor and Infinite Impermanence. On the other hand though, we still have 4 minutes, so even if we get Valor or Imperm on it, we can still do it again in the draw phase possibly. So it's like, there is probably a couple of opportunities, a couple of different ways for Francesco to do this here.
Plenty of ways to get the Borgering going. Rock of the Vanquisher has now added back the resin, so we have multiple attributes to reveal for Holly Sue. Holly Sue might be able to special summon out the Dr. Madlove just to get Vanquish Soul start going, add more value, get more cards, and maybe perhaps just add a Caesar Valius to dodge a possible impermanence.
Yup, Francesco is taking his time here to think about it, and I think this is Dr. Madlove then in the end.
And it is in the rightmost zone, so if he is going to use a brain control doesn't work anymore, mind control on Luce, this card is protected. I'm just saying.
I see your plan, Leo.
Visionary. Vanquish Soul's start here is going to look at Dr. Madlove, so you can add a Vanquish Soul monster with a different attribute, and that is Jiaolong. Jiaolong is also a card that can add more.
And I mean, also if we get to Niall's turn, there's not only the Borger, but then also the Snow Devil, which is able to deal damage. So it's multiple cards that do have that ability to bring him in ahead of life points. There now is the Borger. Okay, okay. I mean, special summons it from the hand. Another draw for Niall. He gets a good chunk of cards here.
At this point, you just play into Purulia and you just make your combo in order to set up your field and do some damage.
He just has Borger and the Caesar Valius hard draw. It's just the taunting here. So it doesn't even need to set up some good effects to dodge something. Everything is just in hand already.
Ooh,
we're going to the end phase already.
Okay, okay. Nail will have to put the turbo in now. 2 minutes and a clear mission of somehow getting those life points difference into his favor again.
I mean, doing some damage and in the time is a classic strategy for Vanquish.
Oh, look, all those 4 cards unknown, 4 Vanquish Soul monsters in the hand of Francesco, and therefore all the different attributes needed to activate both Holly Sue and Heavy Borger.
And the other cards are also not really useless, because I have seen DD Crow there, which is pretty strong against Fiendsmith strategies.
Not only one.
Oh, tour guide from the underworld. Is it going to lead Niall to a tour he enjoys?
We're gonna respond with 1,500 damage.
Forbidden Droplet though, okay, okay. Sending, of course, a monster. Problem being here though, they can technically chain the trap card here if they really want to.
Does that do too much here for them?
I mean, that would make the Borger
He can actually do a very cool play. He can chain the trap and activate Caesar to bounce one monster back.
Yeah, he could just activate the trap and pop the own rock the Vanquisher, then Droplet doesn't resolve.
Oh,
yeah,
that too.
exactly.
That as well. Oh, that's huge. You're so right. You don't even need to chain any of the monster effects now anymore, because just destroying your own rock is massive.
Yeah, just don't make the mistake of chaining Holly Sue here and getting a third monster on the field.
He just chained Holly Sue, I think.
Oh, that is...
I think he just chained Holly Sue. But Leo, you're so right. That would have been so smart. Forbidden Droplet only negates if it actually has enough monsters as cards you send to the graveyard. But yeah, we're giving Niall enough monsters again now by special summoning out that Raisin.
Yep, we're also summoning for the Snow Devil, so I think we're just going to summon all of the monsters that we own.
Yeah.
Just everything here. There's actually too many cards that you want to negate at this point already. Also, funnily enough, we did not even send the tour guide from the Underworld. So that's
we're not there yet. Oh yeah, true, from the field.
Yeah.
You're right, you're right.
Would have already been sent with Shavara, but we also only have 9 seconds to go in this turn unless there was a time extension.
Ooh, we did not even negate the Borger there anymore now, so that's another 1500. And also, of course, the Snow Devil put in some more damage. So Niall, that's a huge difference of life points. And I don't know how he wants to overcome that in the main phase. And indeed, there is no way. And therefore, Francesco and Vanquish Soul is successful here and moves on with still an undefeated record. I think he had one draw, but that's still marvelous.
That is still pretty strong. Not quite Marcello Barberi strong with these 17 and all completely undefeated, but of course still very much in the running for the top 64. I think this is always the first step that the players want to get at, to secure that prestigious top cut, and then step by step try to advance to the World Championships, and then maybe you can also become the European champion. But those World points, they are always so prestigious. It almost shines a bigger light on the event than the title of European champion itself.
And
Yeah.
I mean, this is actually how you should approach any tournament.
Yeah.
One match at a time, step by step. You can eventually make it to the top cut, and later it's all on the luck and what you can accomplish.
You know what's crazy? Yuna still just hasn't lost a match yet this weekend. So, like, imagine winning the points playoff completely undefeated, then just playing the main event, also winning all 12 rounds after each other. That would just be a mad story, honestly. But I mean, of course, as a VIP that was in the playoff yesterday, making good use out of that playoff by qualifying to the World Championship, they started with a 2-win, with 2 buys in the beginning, so
Lazy.
2 wins so far, like real
It's
wins.
just lazy at this point.
But still impressive.
Can
Yeah.
I say a hot take that she doesn't need that? She would also go 2-0
Surely, yeah,
in any
no.
case.
Not a hot take. I totally am with you. That's completely true.
Especially after we've seen how good Malice is at the moment right now. And she has mastered Malice played it the entire year. But we've just now seen another contender on the rise, Francesco on the Vanquish Soul deck. We've also actually not seen too few Unchained decks when we were in the last round checking out the top tables there. They're actually, in the last round, there were still 3 Unchained decks undefeated. So I think that maybe all of them have lost. That's why we have a 3-1 Unchained now. But still, the deck is pretty cool. But Vanquish Soul is looking good.
It is very much looking good. I think the Italian community, and it's always, of course, at those big European events, you can see that some of the communities just have decided on something together. And it looked to me like the Italians have really found a liking with the Vanquish Soul strategy.
Bellissimo.
Bellissimo indeed.
I'm Italian
and of course,
now too.
Yeah, and of course very famous German players as well, though. We saw yesterday Dinka Bui playing it in the playoff. I've heard Dinka Bui, after his 2 buys, just immediately lost, so he's at 2-1 at the very least now. Let's see whether it can get better from there. Ben Kreuzkamp played it too.
Yeah.
Same for him also already with a loss in the tournament.
The deck so far until now hasn't really performed on stream yet. So there is still a little bit. I mean, it doesn't really receive direct support in Justice Hunters. But I mean, the K9 cards fit the Vanquish Soul deck very well. I think we might in the future see 1 or 2 decks of those.
More level 5 monsters.
More level 5 monsters.
More Paradise Smasher.
What is exactly? We love that card. We've seen this card plenty as well.
Yeah.
What's your favorite rank 5 Xyz, guys?
Paradise Smasher.
All right. I was thinking.
The Concealer one.
Yeah.
I think
for me it's Pleiades.
Oh, Pleiades is really
yeah,
cool.
Pleiades.
Is Zenmai level rank 5? Or is it rank 6? I think it is rank 5, right? The wind-up, Zenmai. I'm not sure, actually.
I have never played wind up in my life.
Yeah.
You didn't really play
You
it
caught me
in
off
wind-up,
guard
I
here.
think.
Oh, it was. I think I know what you mean. Yeah, there was one of those. Yeah.
You
maybe.
can tell us at home.
That's the kind of coverage you guys want, right? The informative, investigative journalism that we are doing here. No, I think my first European championship I've ever played at, public events, I played Constellar.
Oh,
Loved
really?
it. Yeah. Pleiades Turbo and Vanity's Emptiness, mainly.
So that's why it was your favorite Xyz.
Love the card back then. I'm happy that rank 5 Xyz are back. There's also pretty cool time when some of these decks played the original, like Adrios and Tidas.
Oh, yeah.
Were the names. These cool monsters that were just basically a little bit of removal.
Yes, those are really, really cool. Tiras specifically, I have to say. That one is
Tiras,
the,
not Tidas.
that's a really cool one. I'm a fan of Tiras. But Adrios arguably also pretty cool as well. Which one do you like more, Mike?
Probably Tiras, to be honest.
Yeah.
Has a very cool artwork also.
Yeah, I agree. But of course, it's not about us here. It's about the players putting up a show for you guys. So I would say we should hear from the player that just put up a show. And that was, of course, Francesco with his Vanquish Soul deck. So let's go over to the analysis corner with Francesco and Tom.
Hello everyone, I'm here with Francesco, the winner of our last feature match. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So how are you feeling now about your chances? You've just won on stream, did you enjoy that?
I definitely enjoyed that. I'm joining you as probably the winner of the most boring slash unfair feature match of the day. I'm already claiming that title. But yeah, it was definitely great winning the feature match. It was my first feature match ever. So that definitely boosted my confidence a little, at least.
Well, that's great. I'm glad to hear it. So, I mean, speaking of the game, you said, you know, it was a little quick, that first game, and I think we've got the highlight here. We see you resolving Paradise Smasher to stop your opponent from activating any card effects on their next turn. So is this something you've been resolving a lot, or is this something you can only do if you've got a really good hand?
It's only something that I go for when my hand is decent, because of course I would still want to have some sort of follow-up after maybe the opponent trying to interact with the Paradise Smasher. In this case, I had a normal summon. My first activation was a Stake Your Soul, so I still had my normal summon, and my normal summon would have been Mad Love, so I would have still been able to extend a little beyond the Paradise Smasher. I haven't resolved many Paradise. This was probably the first one in the entire tournament today. But it's definitely something that I do either if my hand is desperate, or that I do if I have some sort of follow-up in order to force my opponent to either interact with it or not be able to activate any effects or attack.
Sure, so you're not just doing it like blindly, you're saying, okay, if I've got enough stuff to keep going afterwards, I'm going to use it because I might as well.
Yeah, that's the idea.
And so if it's the first time you resolved it, I guess you've not had the miss yet where you lock yourself from using any monster effects.
It's definitely not ideal, not really funny to do to something really funny to do to your opponent. But again, Vanquish Soul is probably not the only deck that can afford to play the card. And I've seen it around the venue, going through the tables. So it's definitely something that people need to keep in mind. That's exactly why I'm saying that people need to either interact with it or completely give up on the game.
Fair enough. So as we saw, there was a fist bump after you resolved that, so a very quick game one. And then on to game two. I guess you didn't know what your opponent was playing, and we saw the Unchained deck. I was wondering if you're familiar with that. I wanted to highlight this clip where you just resolved Harpy's Feather Dusters. Presumably you started in not knowing what your opponent's playing, and then we see here, like, what were you thinking in this case?
I'll be honest, I was just throwing cards at this point. I really did not know much about the Lucha and Buyo cards. I know what the Fiendsmith and the Unchained stuff does. Even if you see me reading that, it's just refreshing my mind about the effects. Of course, I was scared of what the potential follow-up on things that you could do might be. Of course, feature match pressure also played a huge factor. When you see me end on 2 names, field spell at a certain point in the game, and play in order to set the trap, which is probably not the greatest card against a deck which wishes for you to destroy their cards. So at that point, it would have probably been better to end on a rock. I had Holy Sue activatable in hand. If I were to draw or to add another attribute, a dark, I had Jiaolong in hand. So at that point, if I didn't go for the fields play, set the trap play, I would have been able to go rock, added a dark from the graveyard to my hand, and extend with Holy Sue, maybe bringing Raisin, and extend from there, and maybe not die the turn after.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very long game. Yep. It was difficult to pick exactly which was the most exciting points of the game to analyze, but as you say, there was an awful lot going on, and yeah, maybe your interactions with Vanquish Soul not the best against a deck where they like being destroyed. I mean, I just wanted to highlight here the card. I mean, it wasn't your card. It was the Mutiny in the Sky. You just seemed to use he used it like 3 or 4 times. Did you see? You hadn't seen this card before?
No, I've never saw it. You can see me read it during the feature match a couple of times at least. Of course, I was not aware of the effect. Even after reading it, I immediately forgot what it did. So that's why you see me reading it multiple times. And yeah, it's a really powerful card, especially with a deck that is able to send so many Fiend monsters to the graveyard as Nail's deck did.
Yeah, certainly a very cool deck. And then in the third game, it was... Oh, sorry, that's the same clip again. Oh, no, it's not. Okay, so we see here Perulia. Now, Perulia to me is a card that seems very strong against Vanquish Soul.
Yeah,
Have you
it
got
is.
a plan for what to do about Perulia?
So, Vanquish Soul has an out-of-the-box plan against Perulia. If you're able to draw Stake Your Soul, Perulia is a card that will more often than not be used during the standby phase. So you're able to see it coming. Once you see it coming, you can either decide if you want to play under it, like I did, or if you have a Stake Your Soul, you can maybe try and go for a Holly Sue play if you have the Earth and the Fire and Dark available. It really depends on your hand at that point, but you could very well only give 1-2 draws max, depending on how much you would like to extend at that point.
Sure, so you're saying it's kind of very flexible, depends on
Yeah.
your hand. If you have Stake Your Soul, obviously that's fantastic. You can start by summoning from the deck. So in this case, it didn't look like you had Stake Your Soul, but obviously you have to play.
Yeah.
Time's very close to the end here.
Yeah.
So is that just your plan? Just play a little bit, do some burn damage, see what happens?
I'll be honest, yes. In the time crunch, you're only win con unless you draw any floodgates. Strong cards going first is basically to try and go for the burn. It's a mechanic that's in the game, and Vanquish Soul has 2 cards that actually do burn. I was able to resolve Borger twice, and that's already 3,000 damage. Together with the trap that deals 800 damage, that's 4,800. I made a misplay because I was able to chain the trap to his droplet, and I did that in order to be able to bounce. I had a Caesar in hand to bounce my Borger so that it would resolve. I totally forgot to do that while before resolving, and that's exactly why my Borger was at risk of being negated by the droplet. In the end, Nail didn't actually negate the Borger, so that's why I was able to burn for 48, but that was a misplay on my hand.
Leo actually mentioned in the commentary box a really interesting play. You can destroy your own rock, and then if there's no longer 3 monsters on the field, then the droplet can't resolve at all. So maybe one to...
Yeah, that was also something that I thought about at the beginning, and then I just went, screw it. Let me just summon everything at once, because I was also not looking at the time too much. So I was also taking into account the chance that he might have been able to go to the battle phase, and that's why I summoned the Jiaolong at the end, because I wanted, in case he went into the battle phase, to be able to switch one of his monsters to defense and give him one less attack.
Yeah, well, it sounds like quite a lot going through ahead in the game. It's a very complicated game state, and you have an awful lot of effects to resolve, so congratulations for navigating it so well and doing so well in the tournament so far. So hopefully we'll see you again later, maybe tomorrow in day 2.
Hopefully so. Thank you so much.
Well, that's it from us for this feature, so don't go anywhere, and we'll be back soon with another feature match.